everybody, and welcome to Poems with PJ. We've made it to day 13. Unlucky for some, as they say, but it's not going to be unlucky for us because we have got an absolutely jam-packed show for you this afternoon. Possibly, I think it's the biggest one that we've ever had. And that's a really good coincidence as well, because today is a very special day as well. You know that we have lots and lots of different days to celebrate lots of different stuff. You know, we have Pancake Day, and we have Christmas Day, and we have Easter, and we have Eid, and we have all sorts of other big festivals that go on. But sometimes we have awareness days as well, so that we kind of like learn a little bit about each other, and we can learn all sorts of different things. Well, today is National Autism Awareness Day. And that is a really important thing for a lot of people. And you may have seen somewhere out, either online or you might have seen posters around school before we broke up or anything like that. But this is the symbol for National Autism Awareness Day. This is put out by the National Autistic Society. And if you look at it, it's made up, it's a ribbon, just like we have sometimes on other awareness days, but it's made up of lots of different colours and lots of jigsaw pieces as well. And the reason that that is the symbol for National Autism Awareness Day, and I'm going to pop it up here during the show today, is because that it shows that we're all lots of different people and we kind of make up one thing altogether. We're all different parts of a jigsaw and we're all all sorts of different colours, and actually it means that even though we're probably all different shapes and sizes and come in all sorts of different packages, we're all just as important as each other. Now, autism is something that we're going to learn about a little bit during the course of the show. So today I thought that we'd do a variety of poems. Now the first one is one I wrote with a group of children, and they said to me all of the things that they were scared of. Because one of the things about autism is that sometimes people with autism find themselves in situations and they get very nervous and tense and anxious about what's happening around them. And so I asked the children I was working with, I said, could you put for me in a box all of the things, write them down on a piece of paper, all of the things that you're scared of, and we'll make that the first part of our poem. And so this one is just called Things I Am Afraid of. Spiders. The dark. Spiders in the dark. The grumpy man who lives behind our house and told me off when I went to get my ball back once. Our washing machine, when it does that beep thing at the end. Giraffes. Especially grown-up ones with really long necks. My Uncle Jack's doorbell. Pigeons. Police cars, ambulance and fire engine sirens. Making new friends. Big storms. The thunder, not the lightning. Getting lost in new places. Grown-ups shouting. Breaking things, which I do. A lot. The best thing about the things that I'm scared of is that I've got a box my teacher gave me. I can't fit proper giraffes in it. They're too big. And their necks would just get stuck in the lid. But I've got little notes in there of all the things that make me worried, of all the things that make me panic, of all the things that make me scared. When I look in, I can always see that everything's kept safe from me. I keep my box under my bed. The monsters that live down there look after it. And so that was called Things I Am Afraid of. And maybe that's one thing that you might think that maybe you're worried about or anxious about, or things that you don't quite understand with the world. That actually, if you write them down on a piece of paper and keep them locked in a box, maybe that's one way that you could deal with all the things that make you scared and worried. Now, National Autism Awareness Day is a massive thing all across the country, and all sorts of people today are finding out about autism and finding out about ways that they can help friends of theirs that may have autism, or just help make life things a little bit better. And one of the things that happened last year, which I thought was an amazing thing, was that there was a poetry competition. And one young lad by the name of Kenzie wrote a fantastic poem. Now, Kenzie has Asperger's syndrome, and that is something where people might not necessarily understand the emotions of people first time round. They might take a little while to understand if somebody's feeling a bit happy or sad or confused or worried or angry. They might take a little while to understand that, and that's a very tricky thing to do. And so Kenzie wrote this poem, and he actually won an award for this poem, a national poetry competition for young minds, which I thought was an amazing thing. So this is Kenzie's words. They're not my words. He was 11 years old when he wrote this last year. So I am autistic. But what does it mean? It's an invisible condition that can't be seen. Although sometimes you hear it in the way I talk, sometimes it makes me clumsy when I run or I walk. So I'm autistic. But what can I do? Virtually everything the same as you. Although sometimes I do it at a different speed. I can read a book in a flash, but changing for PE is that extra time I need. So I'm autistic. But what have you heard? That we're all weird and a bunch of nerds. But look back in the books of history. So many famous people and inventors you will see. So I'm autistic. And they were too. Albert Einstein, Mozart, Newton, to name but a few. Satoshi Tajiri, creator of Pokemon, Hans Christian Andersen, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, the list goes on. So I'm autistic. Well, what can you do to help me be happy like all of you? Talk to me. Include me. Be my friend. Accept who I am. I'm just Kenzie. Oh, one wish. If you had one wish, what would it be? A fast car, big house, or a sack of money? If you had one wish, what would you choose? Diamonds and pearls, fancy clothes or new shoes? If you had one wish, what would you do? Give it away or use it on you? If I had one wish, I'd use it to show the world through our eyes, the way our brains flow. I'd use it to help you understand what life's really like in autism land. I'll open the door for you to walk through. Come, take my hand. Let me show it to you. I'd show you how sometimes noise hurts our ears and makes us feel safe, our thoughts and our fears. The things that we like, which seem strange to you, like flapping and jumping and spinning round too. With one little wish, I'll help you to see how confusing life is to children like me. To see the world through our eyes is my wish to you. You'd see why we struggle if you walked in our shoes. With only one wish, I'd change the whole world, making it a place of acceptance for all boys and girls. Now that poem was written by Kenzie last year, and it's no surprise that he won a poetry competition with that, because it uses rhyme fantastically well. It's a really long poem as well, really detailed, and it helps us to understand what it must be like if we're not struggling in that way. And it really helped me to understand some of the things like big noises can make people really nervous and scared, or maybe, a simple task like getting changed for PE is really difficult, but actually, reading a book is a really quick thing to do. Everyone's got their strengths and everyone's got their things that they struggle with a little bit. And that was an absolutely fantastic poem. Now, we've got loads of other things that have come into us today. And one of the things, because we said today is National Autism Awareness Day, we kind of put it up on the Facebook page in advance. And one of the parents that watched the show got in contact with us as well. Now, it just so happens that this parent is also a very, very important published poet as well. It's a lady by the name of Zoe, I can't even say your name today, Zoe Siobhan Howard Flo. And Zoe, one of her sons, was autistic as well. And she has written a couple of poems which are based on some of the things that her son has said over the years. And she said sometimes they're a little bit strange, a little bit out there, but they sounded really poetic. And so these two poems by Zoe, okay, the first one is called Seabed. I cannot sleep. Tonight, the invisible crabs are pinching my nightdress, pouring sand into the folds of the cloth. I cannot sleep. They say tonight there are too many fish in the ocean. They are insisting, clicking and pinching, skittering across my pillow. I must save the fish before I'm swept away. And the other one is called Memory Shelves, and I love this idea of having a shelf full of memories somewhere. Inside my brain, I am constructing memory shelves. So many thoughts, jumbling and tumbling and rumbling, rolling around 1,000 loose marbles, angry bees humming for honey, and an elephant sitting in my ear, slurping noisily. And those two poems by Zoe, I think, really kind of bring together for everybody what it must be like to have an imagination that sometimes runs wild and all over the place and sometimes gets focused on just one thing. And lots of people with autism have said that. They said that sometimes their brain is thinking of 1,000 things at once and that makes them anxious. And sometimes it can only focus on one thing at a time. And like we said, with our jigsaw right at the beginning, everybody has a different experience. Maybe you have somebody you know that you go to school with who also has a form of autism. Maybe next time that you see them, or next time that you speak to them, maybe have a little chat to them and say, right, okay, so maybe about what are the things that make you nervous? What can I do to maybe not make your day so tense? And that is kind of what today is all about. It's about making sure we all understand each other as much as we possibly can. Now, our show today, as well as being a big celebration of that, is also, of course, a celebration of your poems. And today we have had more than we've ever had before. We've got time for 4 of them today, and I'm going to go through them. I want to spend a little bit of time on each one because you've all made so much effort. I'm going to hold up this one first of all. This is Grayson's poem, and I'm going to read it out in a second. But if you look around the edge of his poem, right, he has done the most spectacular colouring in. Right, it's a really, really brilliant picture. So that one as well is going to go up on our wall because it's got we've got such a beautiful colour around it. And this is a poem for you to show that we care. For when you're feeling blue, when isolation doesn't seem fair, hopefully after reading this it makes you smile. Maybe it brings laughter. I know you feel stuck inside for a while, but you'll be happy ever after. I think we will, Grayson. I think we will be happy ever after. Thank you very much. And as I say, that is a really spectacular picture around the edge. Really good colouring, and you've taken so much care and attention to that. That's absolutely brilliant. Now, we've got a couple of poems here, right? Well, there's 2 that are about the same thing, and one that's even slightly linked to it. We have had so many different poems about cats or dogs. Right, you're clearly, being inside all day, lots of you are finding that you're spending more time with your pets, and it's lovely to find out all of these different poems. And this one from Joshua also sent us a picture of his dog, right? And this is a picture of Joshua's dog, right? Can you see Joshua's dog there? Absolutely gorgeous looking pooch there, right? Now, this is about Rufus. My dog is sweet and small. But when he stands up, he's giant and tall, nearly the same size as me, standing up so tall. If you give him a fright, he might just fall. Rufus is filled with joy. If you pass him in the street, he might shout, "Ahoy!" He loves to go swimming, even on a hard day, when he's not winning. All Rufus thinks about is food to put him in an even better mood. And the one thing he loves is a walk. If you say, he will stare at you like a hawk. Oh, and we all know that from a dog, don't you? If you say magic words sometimes like dinner, they will stare at you. And if you say things like walk, they'll get really excited and they'll stare at you. Okay, so thank you very much, Joshua. That's a lovely poem about Rufus. We'll just have that picture again of Rufus. He's most definitely going to make it to the wall, right? So we had somebody else's pet dog yesterday up there with our pictures of moons and all sorts of other things. Our kingfishers from the other day as well. All of those pictures that you send us, they're going to end up on our wall up there. Now, this one's about 2 dogs next. Chloe sent this one in. Hello, Chloe. How are you doing? Now, Chloe sent this in about her dogs, and her dogs are called Eddie and Roxy. When they clean their feet, it always makes me smile. And sometimes they chase birds for a while. When they chase me round the garden, it's like we're playing tag. Sometimes we go on a walk and they break the treat bag. When they have their tummy tickled, I think it makes them happy. Sometimes, if you hit the right spot, it makes their legs go tappy, tappy, tappy. When we eat our lunch, we're careful where we put it. Because sometimes they'll finish before we even sit. But honestly, Eddie and Roxy, you sound like very nice dogs, but sometimes quite naughty dogs as well. Breaking treat bags and eating other people's foods. Honestly, well, I'm glad, Chloe, that you're having a good time with Eddie and Roxy, and it sounds like you're having an absolutely amazing time, even though we're all stuck inside. Brilliant to be stuck inside with some fantastic pets. Now, last one, Mikey sent this one in. Mikey's in year 6, and he sent this through to us, and this is again about animals, but now he's having to use his imagination because he's not talking about animals that are inside the house. Mikey's done a poem imagining being somewhere else. And it's all about woodland animals. Woodland animals live in the woods, with plenty of trees in their neighbourhoods. The chipmunk, possum, squirrel and raccoon all roam the woods from morning till noon. The bear and the fox, the deer and the mouse, the woodland creatures all on the loose, and the deer with a moose. Woodland animals up in the trees, owls and birds you're sure to see. Woodland animals all like their view as a woodland creature. Well, wouldn't you? Lovely to finish on a question mark like that. I like it. That's called a rhetorical question. It's a really cool way of finishing a poem, to go, I wonder what you think. And maybe you could do that. Maybe you could write a poem about somewhere that you can't go at the moment, and maybe think, I wonder what it would be like to be there. And that comes back to our poems for earlier on about using our imaginations to put us somewhere else. Now, we want you to continue to send your poems to us at pauljenkinspoet@gmail.com, but the next time that we'll be able to read them is on Monday. Now, you're probably thinking, hold on, Paul, you've got a show to do tomorrow. It's not the end of the week yet. Tomorrow's Friday. You're definitely going to do a show tomorrow, aren't you? Well, we are doing a show tomorrow, but tomorrow's show is going to be a very different kind of show, because we're not going to be reading poems and sharing poems. We're going to be making one. What we're going to need you to do tomorrow is tell everybody that you possibly can that we are going to be writing a brand new poem. And the way it's going to work is that you at home, while we're live, are going to send me the words that we need for the poem. I'm going to have a big board here, and we're going to write the words down as they come in, and then we're going to write a brand new poem together. So you're going to challenge me to put the words together and make a brand new poem. So we're going to be putting details out on the Facebook page later on tonight, and all the way through tomorrow. We're going to be promoting it wherever we can to get as many people as possible so we can write a brand new poem. And then on Monday next week, we'll be back to our normal format with sharing your poems. So if you send us your poems in advance, we'll be able to get them in Monday's show. Now, we're coming towards the end of today's broadcast, but you're probably thinking, well, there's nothing new up here. We've got our autism awareness thing, but that's, you know full well that's going to end up on my fantastic board over here. What is it? What is the new thing that you're going to put up, Paul? Because you're going to see unicorn, and you've given us a mouse, and you've given us a frying pan and some juggling bean bags and all sorts of things. Well, what is it next? Well, I'm going to show you one of my most treasured possessions. This looks like just a number plate from a car, but actually it's a very special number plate from a very special car. This was from my favourite film ever. Now, you've probably got lots of favourite films. We've heard loads and loads of talk before about people liking Disney films, or they might like adventure films or superhero films. Well, this one is a time travel film. This was from a film called Back to the Future, and it's all about a young boy in the year 1985, which sounds like a long time ago for you, but doesn't sound like a very long time ago for me, because I was alive then. And he goes back in time and he meets his mum and dad when they were young as well. It's a very confusing film, and he goes back in time to the 1950s. He goes forward in time to what it must look like in his future, and then he goes really far back in time, all the way back to the Wild West when there were still cowboys around. Now, that film, Back to the Future, was a film that I've written a lot about over the years. And somebody asked me the other day about what was my favourite film, and I said, well, it's Back to the Future, and Back to the Future Part 2, and Back to the Future Part 3. I am a big Back to the Future fan. And so I thought today I would finish today's show with my Back to the Future poem. So your mums and dads might get some of these references, and you can ask them about some of the things in the poem. And it's just called Marty's poem, because Marty is the name of the character in the show that goes backwards and forwards in time. I want to travel back in time to 1985, where denim was in fashion and Jacko was alive. I want to have a skateboard to flip up in my hand. I want to play the lead guitar in Huey's rockin' band. I want to switch reality, that was 2015, and bring in hoverboards and cars and other cool machines. I want to be a cowboy and go to the Wild West. I'd learn to ride a horse or steal a train, whichever's best. I want to hit the 50s, jump and jive across the floor. I want a dog called Einstein. I want some gull-wing doors. I want to double back and live life right through the screen, cruising in DeLoreans. My lost Hill Valley dream. And there you go. And Hill Valley is the name of the place in the show. So Hill Valley is where Marty comes from. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my nice Hill Valley, my Back to the Future number plate. That's going to become part of our set as well. I think it would go very nicely there, living up on the side of my stairs. Well, thank you so much, everybody. You've been absolutely brilliant today. Again, go and check out the National Autism Society, their website, and find out all of the different things you can. And of course, if you've got poems of your own, please share them with us on pauljenkinspoet@gmail.com. This broadcast will be going on to our YouTube channel as soon as we finish this afternoon as well, so check it out there as well. Tomorrow, tune in. We'll be writing a brand new poem together, and it's going to be pretty much a bumper show as we come up to what would have been the Easter holidays. Stay safe, everybody, and we will see you all very, very soon. Bye-bye.